Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Collection. Today I'm going to be opening up the fan mail that I've received, whether it's going to be a response from a celebrity who actually sent the fan mail to them, or actually got a nice fan mail from one of my fans who's been watching the channel. So I've got some really cool successes here. I've got a lot from Star Wars, I've got actors from Hollywood, I've got some video game related ones. So there's a little bit of a mix here, but it's all going to be mostly entertainers. So definitely if you're familiar with my channel, if you're not new here, then you know that I mostly do Hollywood celebrities, that sports, but sometimes occasional sports person as well, a couple athletes. Let's just get into it. First things first, we're going to Cheryl Ladd. So Cheryl Ladd, she's kind of like an old school Hollywood actress. She's most well known for her role in Charlie's Angels. We're going to go ahead and open this. And here we have Cheryl Ladd. She said, loved your letter. So thank you very much, Cheryl. Appreciate that. I sent her 2 index cards here. One had this nice inscription, and then the other one was just her autograph. So that was a nice success. All right. A lot of you guys are thinking, well, why did you send some index cards? How come you didn't send a photo or something like that? Well, first of all, you can see the index cards. They have a nice little envelope. Cost 1 stamp for me to send this thing, so it's really cheap and affordable. The stamp is about 50 something cents. If I were to send a photograph, well, the photo, if I'm printing an 8x10, would be $3 by itself. The postage is probably, somewhere closer to $2 for the postage there, $2. So really, by the end of it, you're doing $7 for each request. And sometimes sometimes that money just goes down the drain because you never hear from the person again. So sending an index card is extremely affordable, but also I use these very quality index cards with Amazon link to them. Pretty affordable, made by independent small business, archival, acid free, and hold the ink really well. They look great, fade and get yellow over time. Now you're thinking, well, Tim, why are you doing that? Well, I basically frame them and do something like this. So you can see here, once you frame the index card, it does look pretty nice. This is just the acid-free matte, the frame with an 8x10 picture in it, and it's really easy to frame this stuff up yourself. I get all the materials individually, either just going from Amazon or small businesses on Etsy, that kind of thing. But you can pair it with any kind of photo you want. For this one, Bella Ramsey, she's in the show The Last of Us, which is big right now. But down the road, autograph on this photo, it's going to be The Last of Us forever. 10 years down the road, she does something else I really like. Autograph here, good to go. So there's a lot of benefits to index cards. Why I go for them. Bottom line, I mean, probably all things this as far as cost goes, yeah, probably money is finite, so that's why. Moving on to the success of the day, Kassanjian. Now, he is a producer. He was actually part of the original Star Wars trilogy, so he played like a pivotal role, and he was part of Lucasfilm also, and he made some like key decisions on, like, for example, he also did Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I think he had the idea of like the map room and the light coming down and hitting it. So he had some input onto how some of these stories, and pretty cool input stuff. Like, unfortunately, even though these index cards did get a little bit bent here, which is a shame, he did sign 2 index cards for me. I said Q&A as well. He unfortunately signed the Q&A. That's okay. Yeah. Super grateful to get what he sent me. 2 signed index cards. These will frame super nice. You can even put them in, like, if you have multiple Star Wars cast members or crew members, you can put them all in one frame, just multiple cutouts in the map. It works really great too. Definitely will probably do that. Hey, Darcy, we're continuing with the Star Wars trend here. This one I sent all the way to the UK. You can see the UK postage here on my Harry Potter stamps. And Darcy, he was like, background character, basically. he was part of Return of the Jedi, and he played an A-Wing pilot and a Stormtrooper. And I really like Stormtroopers. Like, there was, a ton of them on the movie. You can find, like, vintage trading cards or like, these old photos and just kind of get, like, a generic Stormtrooper. But, like, despite these not having a huge role, not being, like, an Obi-Wan Kenobi or a Luke Skywalker, like, part of the tapestry that made the original saga, like, what it is and one of the most important films of all time. So, to me, he's pretty special. And he sent me a little bit of a note here. Let's see, before I get to what he signed. It says, Tim, thank you for the kind letter. I wasn't sure whether you want me to put your name on the Star Wars cards or not, so I left it off. And he goes on to say, I love Texas, been there twice, Dallas-Fort Worth. As Texas musician, and Texas musician Roy Orbison, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Lightning, Hopkins, and Houston. All the best. May the force be with you always. Regards. So, this letter. And I sent 3 cards, and he signed all 3 of them. So these are 2 of these vintage. One of these is a brand new one. Well, not brand new one, but at least released in the last couple of years, right? So Danny signed all 3 of these all the way from the UK back to the US. So made a nice trip across the pond and like put these in any kind of protection, no top loaders or anything, like penny sleeves. Because typically, despite that last index card, when you have like a flat envelope like this, they don't really get damaged, like almost never. So that was kind of a really rare exception. They really don't get damaged. And in fact, I've had more get damaged because I put them in a top loader and one of those hard card protectors, because these letters, they get put through a sorting machine. It's just like automatically done. It's not hand sorted or anything. And the thicker the envelope and the more like uneven the surface is, the more chance that it's going to get caught up and your stuff messed up. Plus, reason number 2 that I do not put my stuff in a penny sleeve or anything like that is because there's plenty of times when I've sent a card in a protective sleeve and the sleeve is what got signed, not the card itself, and that is like undesirable for sure. And speaking of Star Wars, definitely one of the people who did that was Kenny Baker, the late great Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but I was lucky enough to get him to sign some cards for me back in the day, and well, a top loader as well. Yes. All right. To Steven Speirs. All right, this is the last Star Wars one for right now. At the very end, I've got another one, like a big item. But this is going to be the last index cards, right, for Star Wars. So, Steven Speirs, this was that went to the UK. I got my X-Men postage on this one, so repping the X-Men. I know the 90s animation getting big right now with the revival, so good time to have these things. Anyway, Steven Speirs, Star Wars Episode 1, and he was also in Pirates of the Caribbean. So, all right, I don't use top loaders. Well, I mean, I kind of do. Here's an exception, I suppose. I didn't put the card inside the top loader. I actually taped it to the top because I didn't want somebody to sign the top loader, right? But you can see he signed this card, Captain Tarples, sent 2 of them. And this one, you can see perhaps that ink's a little faded here, but that's okay. It was probably, this card's slick, so, that's always a problem, getting ink to adhere to these cards. And I got probably put in the envelope maybe a little too quickly, and it got rough. But this side, this one looks really good. This one leaves a little bit to be desired. No fault of his own, of course, just, of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So definitely appreciate this return. Love that. Natalija Nogulich. She is a Star Wars The Next Generation actress and was also in Christmas Vacation, like that Christmas movie that I watch every single year. It's like holiday tradition. So I definitely mentioned both Star Trek The Next Generation and Christmas Vacation in my letter to her. And you can see here, she did sign both my index cards. So very nice. And like I said, with all these people, essentially, I think with no exceptions yet, I did send a Q&A, so nobody so far has responded to the Q&A, which is, I know it's a big ask, like, hey, can you sign my cards, and can you take 10 to 15 minutes to sign out this Q&A for me when you probably got a stack of fan that's this stack of fan that's this big. So it's a big ask. I don't expect it, but if it does happen, then awesome. I love it. Then you can find all of the interviews that I do on here with the Q&As, them all on talesfromthecollection.com. So you can go to the interview section there and you can find the questions that I ask and the responses you get. So I definitely recommend checking talesfromthecollection.com. All right. Here's a pretty cool one. This is from Pidgeon. This one I really like because I'm a big fan of Pixar, and Jeff has been with the company for a very long time, going all the way back to Toy Story. So he's an animator there, and he worked on other production Monsters Inc. He did Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. So he's a lot of those like really early big Pixar films, but he's still with the company to this day. So him via Pixar, so I sent a letter to the Pixar studio, and he sent me a very cool response. These 2 signed sketch cards here. Basically, we got the alien from Toy Story and Buzz Lightyear. So awesome. I love both of them. He just did them with a Sharpie, but like never in a million years could I do something like on my first go with a Sharpie. So I love getting stuff from talented people like Jeff. Next, Chris Crawford. So I'm for sure. I love games. I love autograph collecting. And sometimes those worlds collide for me. And this is definitely one of those responses. I wrote to Chris Crawford. He was an early Atari employee. He worked there in the late 70s, early 80s. And was actually there during like a pretty important time because he was there actually during the video game crash of 1983, and about that and some other things. And this is one that actually did respond to my Q&A, and you can find that interview on talesfromthecollection.com. For for Chris Crawford, I'm going to open this up and I'll show you exactly what he said. All right. I guess we'll just do the autographs first. So this one's kind of a funny one. Here's Chris Crawford. You can see that it's written in kind of print here. It's not really signed. He says, sorry, but my ever suspicious wife doesn't want me to use my legal signature. Ergo, Chris Crawford written in these character print handwriting. So, hey, some people are suspicious. Some weird guy sends you a letter, asks you for an autograph. Here's the video game. And I guess you got a right to be a little bit weary of that. So, a quite lengthy Q&A. Sometimes I send 4 questions, sometimes I do closer to 9. This was an instance where I did do the 9 questions because I had a lot of questions about his career and like work that he did at Atari. And the Wikipedia page for him was a little lacking, so definitely wanted to get some more detail. But I asked him about the kinds of computers he first got into using and like what the culture was at Atari at the time, and about the video game crash, like I mentioned, and if he still plays video games, that kind of thing. The one about the video game crash was particularly interesting. Let's see, they're on the page. Okay, so it's this one right here, and he asked him, can you talk a little bit about working at Atari during the video game crash of 1983, or more broadly, what it was like to be a game designer at that time? So this was a cool response. He says, those were dark times. Many people could not find work. Several committed suicide and several came down with fatal illnesses. My wife suggested that it was time for me to look for a real job, and it really seemed that video games were a fad whose time had passed. Now, I think it's a cool response, not because, suicide is cool, but we've heard the video game crash a lot. kind of never heard about like a personal aspect. Like, we've heard about the businesses that went out of business and like this huge financial loss. I've ever heard about the personal stuff from, such a deep perspective that people's lives were ruined by it and they were driven to suicide by it. So I just thought that was a unique perspective. But if you want to see all of the answers to that, that's the questions that I asked him. Again, talesfromthecollection.com. Head over there, go to the interview section, and we'll plus a little bit of information if you want to learn more. Michelle Yeoh. Yeoh. She did Everything Everywhere All at Once and Crazy Rich Asians, as well as Shang-Chi. So she is in the MCU, which is, love that. I'm definitely a big MCU fan. But she signed 2 cards for me. Got a really nice signature, dated 2024-4/10. Both of them look very good. One dedicated, one. Thank you, Michelle. Next is Steven Schwartz. He is a composer. He's been composing music for both the stage and screen. He did music for Disney's Pocahontas, the animated movie. He did Wicked, which is the Broadway play, which is getting a movie adaptation, a live action one. And he also did the animated show, The Prince of Egypt. So he did a lot of iconic songs over his career. Well known for his Broadway work and his screen work. I was excited to get this one. Not only did he sign the index cards for me, but he dedicated them and wrote out a couple of bars of music, actually, along with the lyrics at the bottom, which is just awesome. So thank you very much, Steven. I appreciate it. These will look good when they're framed up, and to see them. After this, definitely got some music to listen to his on Spotify for sure. Another one I'm going to be listening to is Perri Manfredini, another composer. Perri is best known for composing music for Friday the 13th. And I should say Perri and Steven both did the Q&As for me. You can find both of them on talesfromthecollection.com. I imagine everybody's going to want to see all of the Q&As. The brief look at it. Perri also did the last couple bars of music for me. That was very nice. Basically asked him what it was like composing for the movie, and then he also did the 13th video game as well. He did the music. Asked him about the video game, and he was very kind and also did all 9 of my questions. So if you're interested in a little bit more about his career, head over to talesfromthecollection.com. All right. Thanks for being with me. I've been dealing with some allergies here, but appreciate you guys watching and seeing kinds of returns I've been back. This next one is from Julie Andrews. So it is a response. She did respond to me. I wrote her a letter and got this back. But unfortunately, it's not the best response. It's not actually hand signed by her. It's a preprint, meaning that they printed the photograph with a copy of the autograph already on there. So I've never touched the hand of Julie Andrews or anything like that. Still, I appreciate the fact. Because I sent index cards in a smaller envelope, they did have to include their own postage stamp here. So, she had her own envelope, her own photo, her own stamp. So it was very nice of her. Thank you very much, Julie. All right, getting to a couple more that we have. I don't have too many left here, but we're getting on to some of the bigger items that we have. So this one is from Megan Marie. So she used to be a writer for Game Informer, and she was really kind of well known for being a fan of the Tomb Raider games. And when the Square Enix Tomb Raider game was first announced in this issue of Game Informer, she got a long interview and it was a cool issue. I sent this to her like 2 years ago, maybe close to 3 now, but like the pandemic, it was really hard to get it done. But I was talking to her the whole time. She was super nice, super sweet. She helped me get this signed along with some other books. She did like a Tomb Raider cooking book, and she did like a women in gaming book, and she's done a Super Nintendo kind of retrospective. So she's done a lot of video game books. She works at Crystal Dynamics now. She's like customer or PR, customer relations, something like what her role is now. But she's into gaming history. She's worked in the industry for a long time. She's for women in gaming. So her autograph was one that I was really happy to get. I was finally really happy to see that landed on my doorstep after so many years. So thank you very much, Megan. Appreciate that. Is Shannon McRandall. She's best known for being basically the image of Mara Jade. So back in the 90s, Lucasfilm hired her to portray Mara Jade in like the, for like comic books and publications, like she was in a lot of magazines and that kind of stuff. So I decided to send out actually a magazine to Shannon, and this is what she gave back to me. So I sent this one. It says, Tim, may the force be with you. Shannon McRandall, Mara Jade. So signed here, 2023. This one came right at the end of February, but it's been a little while. And unfortunately, I didn't know what her policy was. So Shannon, forgive me. But she did say in this note here, Dear Tim, thank you for thinking of me. I want to let you know that usually I charge $100 per autograph. So I ask that you make a donation to your local ASPCA. So I'll definitely do that. And if you want to write to Shannon, I definitely highly encourage you to make a donation as well, or I guess pay her $100 when you're asking for her fee. So not only did she sign for me, she did also answer my Q&A, which actually has not yet been uploaded to talesfromthecollection.com. So actually do that like pretty soon. So it might be there by the time you see this. Probably be there. So thank you, Shannon. Sorry about the $100. I didn't know. My bad. All right. Next is Dan Perri. All right, so here's a cool one. I should have added this one in the video because this is another Star Wars name, but he didn't just do Star Wars. He did The Exorcist and The Nightmare on Elm Street. He was the title designer, and like, think of Star Wars, like you think of that logo, the Star Wars with that like unique script with an S, a long tail and all that stuff. It's yellow. Like he did that. So all the Star Wars merchandise, everything that you've seen, like that's his work. So it's pretty cool. I did send him Q&A. Fortunately, he didn't respond to the questions. He did say that you can Google me and like find the answer to this question. So, very well. Thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate you signing for me. He signed one of the 2 index cards, which is awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Oh, we are getting into some more interesting stuff. This one, I recommend you guys check out the Coolwater Facebook page because they do some interesting giveaways, especially in the last like year or so. They've been really wrapping up the giveaways, and they're a talent representation agency. They represent the likes of Harrison Ford and some other big names. There's a lot of Star Wars people for sure. Billy D. Williams, lots of people they represent, and they help them get book dates at conventions, that kind of stuff. So they do a lot of autograph signings. And if you go to a convention, you'll notice that the table has a bunch of photos there and a bunch of pins. And when you're signing autographs all day long, well, basically, pens can fade and you want to make sure that your pen's good when you're signing a bunch of autographs. So we'll have a lot of times like a test image where you can just test out the pen, make sure the ink is flowing well, and just so you're not messing up anybody's valuable item. I got these two. They were from a giveaway from Coolwaters, and basically like these test images that they had at the signing table. And so they got all these weird scribbles on here. They look kind of cool, but then they have like an actual autograph here and here. So it's neat. I think it's pretty neat. And it was free. You just have to like comment on the post, the giveaway post, and give a like to it and follow the page. And they send me out two free autographs at no extra cost. If you want to pause the video and look at their letter exactly on explaining what it is, cool. But you can coolwatersproductions.com, and you can get like a discount there with the code Scribble, and follow them on Facebook. I would say doesn't hurt to get free autographs. All right. I want to show you one more that I got. This one was actually a purchase. Did want to show you one more that I got. This one is actually a purchase from Barnes & Noble, I guess, or Books A Million. I don't exactly remember, but this is Billy D. Williams' new memoir. He is selling signed copies. You can probably still get one from somewhere. I really liked the signature on this. Let me just show you guys. You can see, like he's getting there in age. He's a pretty old guy now, but this signature, I've seen some of them that are like a little bit shaky, a little wobbly, but this is really clean. I like actually how he signed this way. Traditionally the signature goes this way, but he's got a long one. He decided to take up a lot of room and like fill this page basically with a signature. I don't like making autograph cuts out of books. I just like to leave the book intact, but like that would make a beautiful cut. And I'm a big Star Wars guy, as you guys if you figured out already. So, I've got Billy D in my collection already. I've met him a couple of times. You can't have enough Billy D. Williams autographs. Can't. All right, last. And a little bit of a role reversal. I did get some fan mail myself. I do have a P.O. box, which you can see here. P.O. Box 760184, San Antonio, Texas, 78244. If you ever want to write to me, hey, go for it. I'd love to fan mail. Basically, this was a really nice letter. I don't want to read someone's mail on the video, but they did ask me to sign this, so I think I'm going to go ahead and sign it for them. Basically, these are not really typically for my own personal use. I usually bring these pins to the convention and have other people use that. But when someone wants me to sign, I'm more than happy to do so. And it's hard to pick a color, but there's like a nice green in here that kind of looks like that green. This pen, I've never used this pen before, so yeah, I'm gonna have to get that going. I'll be right back. And thank you for watching Tales from the Collection. I really appreciate you guys. Go ahead and head over again. You know where, talesfromthecollection.com. I've got a lot of great resources. I've got an address database with a lot of celebrity contact information, emails, phone numbers, addresses, all the good stuff. I've also got a fan mail generator to help you generate your fan mail if you're struggling with words to paper. It uses AI to kind of take your ideas, what you want to write, and it helps to craft a really elegant letter for you. So if you ever have trouble writing, head over to talesfromthecollection.com, use the fan mail generator. You can find a link at the bottom of the page. Also do a lot of production news about productions that are coming up for film and TV. And I also always include addresses for the film studios there. So definitely head over to the site. And if you want to check me out on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, I've got a really nice Facebook group as well, community there. If you ever have questions, feel free to reach out to the Facebook group at Tales from the Collection. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next month to show you exactly which celebrities are responding to fan